Well, I hope you've enjoyed the last 20 days as much as I have. Tonight, we come to the end of Jesus' life here on earth before his resurrection. And we pick up the story in John chapter 19, verse 38. It says this: After these things, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly for fear of the Jews, asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave him permission. So he came and took away his body. This would have been very unusual. Typically, the Romans would have left a body up on the cross for several days as a reminder to everybody that was passing by. You mess with Rome, this is what happens to you. Every once in a while, they would grant somebody permission to be taken off of the cross. And if that was granted to the family or to those who loved the prisoner, they would take the body and then they would throw it into a common communal grave outside of the city. This almost never happened, but Jesus, his body was granted to Joseph of Arimathea to be buried in a tomb that had never been used. Verse 39, Nicodemus also, who earlier had come to Jesus by night, came bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds in weight. So they took the body of Jesus, bound it in linen cloths with the spices, as is the burial custom of the Jews. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had been laid. So because of the Jewish day of preparation, since the tomb was close at hand. So stop right there. Joseph and Nicodemus, they didn't have much time. It was late in the day, and they needed to have Jesus buried before the sun went down and Passover began. So they would do what we would have done. They wash the body very quickly. They wrap it up with all these spices that Nicodemus brings. And then they wrap him in the linen cloth so he wouldn't decay. And there wouldn't be this immediate stench of a bad odor. They covered him from head to toe so that he was now ready for burial. By the time they finished, the body would have been covered over in 100 pounds of additional weight. The end of the verse, it says, and they laid Jesus there. No doubt, these followers, they would have been brokenhearted. They thought this was the Messiah. They thought that this was the man that God had sent. They thought that he was going to be the one that overthrew Rome and set up the government that they were waiting for. But that doesn't seem to be the case, at least from their perspective. Because Jesus had done many miracles. He had taught with a wisdom that they had never seen before. But this they knew for sure. Jesus was dead.